Hello, and thank you for joining me yet again in another episode of Combat Canvas. Today is definitely a very disappointing episode. I guess that yet again we have to say that this Conor McGregor fight night was an absolute disappointment. Unfortunately, we are getting used to saying that more and more these days, and in the past few years. It's very unfortunate. I was beyond excited for this fight card, regardless of who won. I just wanted to see a fight, and I feel like the UFC sold us wolf tickets in this one, and it's very unfortunate that I have to come back and give an opinion like this. But this is something I've been thinking for a while. And I think the UFC just set us up. I think they have become really good, and they have shown several instances where they just talk the audience, talk the fans into watching an event, paying for it in advance, and then they deliver absolutely nothing, showing their incompetence in filtering who should be competing and who shouldn't, right? For me, it's extremely disappointing. This is not the first time something like this happens. We had this situation happen with a main event back when Aljamain Sterling defended his title against TJ Dillashaw, and we all had to act like we were happy for Aljamain, and some people was, and definitely I was kind of happy that he got his money. But what in the actual fuck is that, the UFC? What in the fuck is that, UFC? What even is that? Don't you guys have people that review and check and audit this kind of situations, injuries, and something to assure that the fans are gonna get their time worth, their money worth? I didn't even show up to that fucking venue. I didn't pay a penny on top of my subscription to fucking Paramount Plus that was fucking lagging every 5 minutes. And I feel shortchanged. How can somebody feel that went to the event, and how long are you guys gonna milk the fans and fool the fans before you start growing some respect for people? Just because you manage and dominate the monopoly doesn't mean that you guys should be doing this kind of things to the fans. Okay, let's talk about the fight. All right, Conor McGregor shows up when he is dressing up, when he's actually undressing and just getting into his fight kit and getting ready to get into the octagon. You can tell that he is limping on one of his legs, and that's kind of odd, but then you move on with it, and then the commentators after the fight ends start making excuses for McGregor as to why he couldn't continue, saying that the first kick he threw in the fight led to the injury. Then they show McGregor limping on his leg 1 minute before getting into the cage. They put all the pieces together. The first move, the last movements and instances and recordings before getting into the octagon. And then McGregor is in the cage. He barely raises his hand, barely makes a slight sign that something is going on. And Beltran, inside job Beltran, waves off the fight immediately. When you've seen fighters getting fucking knocked out, not defending themselves for 15, 20, 30 seconds, and they don't stop the fight. But then Conor is just barely limping on his leg. And even Max said after the fight in the post-fight interview that Conor said that he could continue fighting, right? So all these things, the referee, the commentators, and it's all found out about until the fight is over. Now, a lot of things are gonna come out, that something happened during the training camp, that we were not sure, but that we wanted to show out, that I was sure walking into that fight that I was gonna win, of course you're gonna say that. Because you're not gonna make the people think that you were fooling them. But of course, we were being fooled. Or that's how I feel after watching this fucking main event. Absolutely unbelievable, guys. We waited 5 years. We were already let down with the Chandler fiasco when he injured his foot, a toe, and we never got to see full Conor McGregor picture with the broken toe. We only saw a random toe on the grass. injured, and now this? Like, how many times do shit like this need to happen before we care? That is just my question. Because I am beyond disappointed. And yeah, they're gonna put a decent show for the fans with the remaining fights in the card. But we didn't show up. We didn't tune in for fucking, I don't know, Corey Sandhagen, motherfuckers. We've been waiting for this for 5 years. And we got 69 seconds of the most boring action. Nothing happened, bro. And what pains me the most, as an MMA and Conor McGregor fan, is that this is hard not to interpret as Conor McGregor trying to fight out of his contract with the UFC. Because if he fights a guy that he has a win against, he can lose once. With that, he gets rid of one of the remaining 2 fights in his contract, and then he goes ahead and does a trilogy against a safe bet, against a safe fight, safe quote unquote, all things considered, considering that the other option would have been Carlos Prates. Yeah, Max Holloway would be the safer option, the former featherweight, that is like in the tail end of his career, almost past his prime, you could say. So of course you want to rematch that guy and not win against Max Holloway or try your actual best, and then have to come back and do yet another fight, and maybe a time against an actual contender in the division of 170, not Max, former featherweight Holloway. So what am I trying to say? I'm not saying that Conor McGregor planned this. I'm not saying that they all set this up. I'm not saying that both Conor and Max, the referees, the UFC, confabulated and conspired, and developed a plan to fool the fans. But all I'm saying is, it feels harder not to see it that way. Because why? They need to sell the tickets. They made the biggest gate in UFC 31-year history, and probably in all MMA history, and probably in all combat sports history, with this Conor McGregor fight. With this Conor McGregor best comeback in history fight. And for them to not have double checked that Conor McGregor was actually gonna be healthy for this fight, for them to start making excuses on the spot like that's gonna be worth anything for the fans, for me, it's absolutely and deeply disappointing and very telling as to how stupid they think and they believe and they are convinced their fans are. Because despite bullshit like the Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw fiasco happening, despite that kind of things happening, we keep showing up. And we'll keep showing up. That's why they do it. So, absolutely nothing to say about that fight. Conor McGregor threw a jumping, sort of weird ass kick and landed funny. Threw a couple more kicks and kept falling on his butt. When he got up the last time after getting ground and pounded a little bit, he kind of reacted to the leg, to the other leg, to the leg that he fell on when he jumped, and they stopped the fight right away. And then Max right away is not even reacting to the injury, is not even saying anything about the fight. He's right away saying, "Hey, yo, boys, I'm making that money because I'm going for the second fight, guys. It is what it is, boys. It is what it is."